Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and on this episode, as promised, we're going to break down Eternal Love, which is a Chinese drama. I am not 100% sure when it came out. I want to say it's sometime between 2015 to 2018. Now, the request for this review of the drama, it all started because, as I mentioned in my last video, a year or two ago when I did a video about the gods and goddesses and kind of like the inner workings of the heavens, a lot of people recommended that I watch this TV show. It's a Chinese drama. I am not going to lie, I am a little biased when it comes to Chinese dramas, as in I don't like them. So this drama, and this is going to be spoiler alert for anybody who has not seen this, it basically depicts the love story of Yihua, which is the crown prince of heaven. His grandfather is the emperor of heaven. And then it's him as the main actor. And then you have the main actress, who is the Fox Queen. And I believe they pronounce her name as Baiqian. If you want to know my general opinion of the entire drama, it was really unnecessary and long. However, my guides, they found it entertaining. All right, so there is a lot I could say about this drama. But I'm going to try to break it down as far as accuracy, for one, general opinion, and a little bit of background information as far as the inner workings of heavens and how the drama is portrayed. So I'm trying to not be so biased, but it's still going to be my honest opinion and what my spirit guides and what they felt as far as is it accurate. And I'm just going to let you guys know right off the bat, it's not. So my biasness with Chinese dramas is that they are very, very unnecessarily long. Okay, this drama is over 60 episodes, you guys. And I'm gonna be honest, I skipped through a lot. I skipped through most of it. Okay, I probably wholeheartedly can say I watched 65 to 70% of this whole drama. It's a very, very lengthy show. It starts off when the main actress, she goes to become a disciple of the god of war. And a bunch of stuff happens. The god of war dies. She takes his body. And then, eventually, the crown prince is born in the heavens when the god of war dies. Okay? Quotations, because, Chinese dramas, nobody ever really dies. Everybody starts jumping out later at the end. And then eventually, her and the crown prince, they meet. Of course, he's the spitting image of her teacher. And so it really then depicts really her and his love story and how it all comes to full circle at the end. I mean, just talking about it, it seems so much. But what we do love, and whenever I'm saying we, this is going to be like me and my guides. What we love is not the story, okay? It's not the story. We love the beauty of how a lot of Chinese cinematography actually is. That's really what they focus on a lot in their movies. If it's not going to be the action, it's going to be the beauty of the scenes and the filming styles. Obviously, the setup and the props. So just know, because it is a Chinese drama, a lot of it is going to be more so a depiction of what the Chinese would believe the heavens are like. And let's start off with what was actually right. I think that will be a lot faster. So I believe what they actually got right is going to be the depiction of when you are at different places, time works differently. They allude to when you are at the Fox Kingdom, the time there is actually slightly different from the heavens. They allude to it though. They don't ever actually say it. However, whenever they talk about like the human world, they do definitely mention it a lot, how the timing is very, very different. It's really fast in the human world, whereas in the heavens is very, very slow. So that is true in a sense that when you go to different worlds, the laws of nature and how things work in that world, it is different from all of the worlds. You know, obviously, like the time here on Earth might be very, very different in Mars. And it's not so much the traveling distance to reach the place, you know, like that's why so much time has passed. No, if you were in both places in these worlds I'm referring to, how things work and everything, it would be very different because, again, it is its own world. It is not, you know, like if we're in America and we go to Canada, you know, like there might be some time zone differences depending on where you are in the hemisphere, but it's not like that. Like, don't think of it as, you know, you're going to Canada only. It is, or even to Europe, you know, across the ocean. It is a totally different world. So you're leaving Earth and you're going to Jupiter. So that is more the sense that I am referring to. In the drama, how they depict it, they don't depict that it's different worlds, except for like the human world. They kind of depict, they don't really go into a lot of detail on, you know, like what does it look like? How do you enter it? Because if a god was being punished and they had to go to Earth or the human world to live out their trial, pretty much, they never show that part. They just, the god just disappears from the scene, okay? And then they're dressed normal, like more plain. We'll get to the clothes in a bit here, but you know, so they don't actually show a lot of the inner workings. Now, I found it interesting though that in the drama they basically reference, they do reference getting to certain places, okay? And it's more so at the beginning of the drama, because at the beginning, when the main actress, who is the Fox Queen, and when she gets older she becomes the Fox Queen, she is naughty as a disciple to the god of war, so she sneaks away a lot. And so she was going to this party. She was going to this party and she had another disciple with her who agreed to go with her. And where they were traveling, there was like a space in between there where like their powers didn't work, etc. And then they ran into the Ghost King. Y'all, we hated the ghost stuff. Okay, I'll get into that too. So, and then they end up just traveling, like they're walking to the ghost world. So, you know, we didn't like that, but you know, I understand that maybe that's how they're seeing it, as like it's a different part of China. You know, like that's kind of where they were going with in the drama. But for us, it's not that easy. You don't just walk across a plot of land to get to another plot of land, and it's a totally different, you know, it's not owned by it's a different world. So literally, if I was like in the Fox Kingdom, I hated that they even chose a fox, you guys. I don't even know why they did this. I genuinely believe that it could have been from stories of Chinese stories and legends. That is why they went with a fox, like the nine-tailed fox stories, right? I know a lot of people like from South Korea, you know, they do a lot of their TV shows and dramas based off of like a nine-tailed fox. So we were really confused on why they chose a fox in general. Like, why the fox? And then, so it's like if you were in the Fox Kingdom, to leave it, you would literally be leaving the whole world, not just the land. And then a lot of the laws and how things work, even seasons and time and magic, it's different whenever you get to a new world. It was true where I did find it was interesting that when they do go into like the demon world, their powers didn't work though. Unless you were a higher being, like a higher god, then does your power work in the demon world. So that part I found really interesting that they actually even included it, because we were like, oh, because that is true. Now, as far as the clothing, okay. First and foremost, this is again a Chinese drama, so they're going to depict it really like it's fantasy, and plus it's a love story, you guys. If you're watching, or if you've watched the show, yes, there's fighting, yes, there's like war stuff going on, but the main focus of the drama is love, hence the title. But I will say though that the clothing in general, it's very romanticized and there's no importance to it, whereas in reality there is importance to clothing. but they depict it as how we put on clothes. So when a god was reborn into the human world, their garbs was just really dull looking. Um, they didn't have the glamour glow feature on them the whole time. So it was just really like that's as basic as it got as far as how to differentiate. And then, obviously there's like cruddy looking people around you. Like that's how you could tell that this god is now being serving their trial. But then there are scenes where the gods do come down during a time when another god is serving their trial, and they do come down as a god. And obviously most of the times they're hidden still, okay? So that part is true. I know a lot of you guys tend to ask me about clothing. And the way the show portrayed clothing, it's not accurate. They portrayed it like regular clothes. However, how it actually works in the spiritual world and like in the heavens, clothes, not only does it have meaning and rank, it has a life of its own. So that's why gods are given clothes from the heaven, because it is a power. It is alive. It's not just garbs that you put on. Like you might hear stories, okay, like in anime, okay, when somebody has a cloth, literally just a cloth, okay, and it will go for miles and kill the other person. So that is what I mean. Like in some Chinese movies where it's action, there are ridiculous scenes like that where you could literally take a piece of cloth and it will have a life of its own. That's exactly what it's like, really, in reality. But in this show, I felt like they were just focusing on romanticizing everything versus, like these are actual things that really could happen in the heavens. So it was more just, it's pretty close. That's it. Now, the ghost world or the demon people. Okay, they reference them as ghosts, but I am believing they are referencing them as demonic entities or just evil people. Okay, so we thought it was hilarious. The whole scene, the whole depiction, we thought it was very, very boring, first off. It was very boring because we felt they didn't do it justice. And that might sound weird, but what people don't understand, and I'm going to try to explain it where I can't give you guys a ton of information, but I'm going to try and explain it so you guys can understand. So if this was the heavens, and then this is what you would consider like the demons, and we're not going to say that they're ghosts, because ghosts, they actually have their own world. So we're going to call them just demons, okay? I was recently asked, why are there even demons? They were like, is this like just a good versus evil thing? Is this just like an endless war? And then it dawned on me that I don't think people understand how it actually is. You guys might have a fairy tale version. And watching this drama and how many of you guys commented about this drama, it also is making us understand a lot of people just have a romanticized version, and it is just good versus evil. Okay? So asking why are there demons is like asking why are there white people? Why are there Asian people? Why are there Vietnamese versus Thai or Korean people? That's literally what the question sounds like when somebody asks me that. Yeah, there's going to be like evolution and everything. However, like when somebody asks me that, I literally have to take a step back and just tell them it's not good versus evil. Like, who told you who are the good people? Who told you? Who told you who are the bad people or the evil people? What makes you think that? So it goes back to how people say that I should help ghosts or demons along. And if you guys don't understand what I'm trying to say, is that demons have every right as people from the heavens. And it is true in the depiction of the story, it's not just, they actually do separate it by the heaven people. Because there are people who are just from the heavens. And then you have what they call the fox people. I really hate that there's these stupid foxes, but okay, we're going there. That there are these fox people. And then they have mermaids in the show. They have like no dragons. Okay, they showed one scene with a dragon. But the whole point of this again is all of these entities out there, they all have a right. So why do my guides or shamans who are along my same lineage, or like Hmong shamanism, how we practice it, why do we go about killing them? Because they are breaking the rules. That is why. If a heaven person went down to the demon world and started bugging them, they would then smite them. Do you see what I'm going? So the reason why we would kill or we would just threaten, it's not a, I'll find a door for you and help you along your way. That's not our job. That is not our job. So if a demon or a ghost appears, I am choosing as a lazy individual not to do anything about it. But if they interfere and actually get in my way, I have to kill it. Because what are you going to do? You'll help every ghost? Okay, and I tell you why you don't. Okay, because they keep coming. Okay, this isn't, it gets worse. Okay, it just gets worse. That's why. And there are other ghosts out there who will not like that you're helping these other ghosts. Because, again, it is not the rules. It is not the nature of things. So, in reality, you would get punished. It depends, again, which side of the history are you on? Who told you who's good? Who told you who's bad? So, you have to think outside of the box. Okay, so the heaven and the demon world and what you guys consider hell, right? Why do you think they exist? If they were truly that bad, wouldn't the heavens have just smited them all? Okay, so like, we don't just do that. We don't just go down there and go ham on everybody. That's not the rules. That's not the nature of things. They have their own place. They are meant to be there. So that is what I definitely want to clear up for anybody who, you know, you tend to romanticize things and you tend to think, you know, people of the heavens are always great. That's how come when people think they're going to pray to a god or they're going to ask a god for help. And another one of my viewers actually wrote and commented that they have met these gods that I spoke of and they are not nice. And that's what I mean. They're not Santa Claus. They're not going to help you, okay? They don't bring you gifts just because you were good. There is no reason why they would have to. That's not their job. So don't romanticize thinking of the heavens as almighty and so great and so just. Because if you take away all of the dreams, you will actually see the reality of how black and white it is. And that it's not a friendly place where, you know, everybody hangs out like the way it's depicted in the drama. That these gods are bored, so all they do is visit one another all day. Like, that's not that's not how it goes down, okay? That part is to make the story good. That's why they have that. Because if we really depicted these, like, gods who, yes, they may be very powerful, very good looking, very this and that, but they have no interest. Like, because that's not what they're taught. That's not their job. So I have mentioned in other videos about how a shaman can have different categories and different types of spirit guides. There may be millions of those types within each category. So for myself, and I'm only speaking for myself and my own experience, you know, we're going to have the Zizheng Zisong, which are the killing kind, and then the Ning Shou, which are more of the foreseeing, fortune telling, seeing a ghost, talking to ghosts types, okay? So it's not just ghosts, but it could be any spirit. Now, when a shaman goes into the spirit world and they have both types, which one do you think comes out? The ones, and if you watched my older video on this, the fortune-telling, sightseeing ones, they are not very, and I don't want anybody to be offended when I say this, but they're not, but a lot of Hmong people, this is how we reference them. And sometimes the way it's said, it can piss people off. Because they feel attacked, basically. So the fortune telling, sightseeing, etc. ones, they are not as strong when it comes to ghosts or demons and how to fight them off. Okay, that's like the best way I could say it. Okay, because other people would just say they're useless. Okay, like, so because the traditional Hmong shamans, when we talk about the old school type, they didn't have the Neng Shou type. Okay, and if they ever did, it was only that type. They were more of, the black veils. They were more of the just killing ghosts. They didn't see and talk to ghosts. They didn't have voices. Okay, they didn't have any of that. So that is basically the foundation of Hmong shamanism, of killing stuff. And typically, if you are a shaman and you have multiple types, when you do go into the spirit world, do you really think it's going to be a bunch of Teng Sha Neng Shou? Like, we're going to like tell you where to go and help you out and everything, okay? Like, if a demon comes, it's not them who are going to be actually fighting and protecting me over this, okay? It is going to be more of the old school style, where they come out and they just kill everything in the path. So they are normally more coveted because they are stronger at actually taking care of illnesses, people being haunted and stuff like that. Not so much the sightseeing. Now, I do know a lot of people, though, there is value in both styles. There is. So what I'm trying to say, though, is that when I am going into the spirit world, the sense of duty, that's what we were going with here, you guys, the greater good, it is more important than anything else, okay? It's not about romanticizing things like, oh, but this is just a cute little ghost. Like, let's not kill it. Let's just move it out of the way. And, like, it'll find its way on its own. Like, that does not happen. That's not the reality of it. So if I was doing a ceremony for somebody, and this actually did happen, and I've mentioned it in another video, I did a ceremony for a girl who was really attached to her father who had passed away. So I did a ceremony for her, and literally her father was there. My guides came out, and they were ready to kill it. They were prepared. Everything was perfect. And then I came out, and I said, no, we probably shouldn't do this. So they were like, what do you mean? Like, why are you saying this to us? Like, because it doesn't make sense to them. Because this is their job. This is their duty. It's a ghost. You gotta get rid of it. What's it doing here? This is not the law of nature. But for me, and then I have my Teng Sha Neng Shou. They're like, this is gonna ruin the girl. We are here to heal and help her. If we kill her father, how good do you think she's gonna feel? And the crazy thing was that she felt it too when it was happening. She may not have understood everything that I was doing in my journey, but she knew this moment I was going to kill her father. And, I had a barter with my guides that, what, we cannot do this. I'm not allowing you guys to do this. I know this is not the way. I'm not quoting the Mandalorian, but I know that this is not the way. But we cannot do this. For the general health of this individual, we cannot kill the only spiritual grab that she has left of her father. I am not going to be responsible for this. And yeah, I got in trouble for that, because I'm not supposed to make that judgment call, but I did. And so it's just, this is why I don't help ghosts, okay? And going back to the eternal love, it's just, they did not do justice to the Ghost King, because they are equals to the heavens. They are. Now, they do depict that the Ghost King ends up taking a heaven bride, a girl basically from, like, not the demon world. In their version, they depict that any children they ever have will die or be disease-ridden, right? So we didn't really like that because they're romanticizing it. Okay, like, this is actually a power that demons have. It is an actual power. But people who are not demons would find it very, very terrifying. Demons naturally have the ability to absorb the life of anything around them. And they cannot turn it on and off. So the laws of nature would not allow somebody who is not a demon to marry and be with a demon. You would die. Okay, there's no way around it. So we did not like that they romanticize that. Yes, it's true, demons, they can change form, and it's very easy for them. It is a natural gift that they have. But for people who are very experienced of higher levels, they have a smell, y'all. They have a smell that they cannot disguise. Okay, so you can always tell if it's a demon because of the smell that they portray. So no matter how good they are at morphing and changing, they cannot get away with their natural way of how they are built. It's just this their power. Stronger demons, they definitely can absorb really fast and like seem like they're killing instantly. Okay, but it's because they have that kind of power that people of the heavens actually don't. We don't naturally absorb the power of somebody else, because if you ever did and you know that magic, which you can learn that magic, it would be considered like you're breaking the law, essentially, because you're not allowed to use that type of magic to absorb the lifespan of something else. But demons naturally do or can. So, I mean, a lot of people reference like the whole yin and yang thing. You know, it's like if you think about the heavens being the white part, and then you think about the demon world being the dark part, there's a point in why they were always connected. And there's a point of why you always have a piece of it within the other side. So maybe that will clear it up better for people. Whoever wonders, is it just good against evil? And why don't we just go and smite all these people? Because everybody has their rights and their ways and their laws and how everything is set up. You can't just go around being Rambo. Oh, and we absolutely hated that. Apparently you get struck by lightning and you raise your ranks. Because at the beginning of this episode, there's this scene where the god of war takes the lightning strikes for the Fox Queen. Like what the hell? Like, we were just like, they're just throwing things out of nowhere. Like, this should not even, no. And even though he took the strikes, she raised in rank. Like, it was just so stupid. So that part is not true. Don't think of it that way at all. Now, as far as mermaids, because a lot of you guys do have questions, it's absolute BS that the only dragon they had was when the crown prince, there was a scene where he goes into the human world to fight a stray lion that was loose so that it didn't kill all the people, right? Well, anyways, he turns into a dragon. And so we thought it was interesting that, oh, they are showing that how gods, they can morph into a dragon, right? But it kind of ends there. Now, the dumb part was when he was injured, he turns into a snake. Okay, like, if he was injured, he should have turned back into his human form. But no, they made him turn into an ugly little snake. And then I get it. It was so that that girl, she could go and find the snake and fall in love. Whatever. Anyways, you know, I cannot believe they did a whole thing on freaking mermaids. But first off, the mermaids are hideous in this TV show. That is not what the mermaids really look like. Another thing I want to add, because a lot of people have been asking about mermaids. They are not called mermaids. They're not what you guys might think they are. Like, I'm curious to know what you think of mermaids. Because the real entities that you guys are referring to as mermaids, they are similar, because I know if I say this, it's going to sound like they're a dragon. They have magic, but it's limited, and it's only a certain kind of magic. And there's only a certain reason why people will look for mermaids, because they want that magic. But mermaids will require something in return. I mean, like, you know, I've mentioned it's always a give and take. It's always about a bartering thing, right? But mermaids only want one thing. You have to be a very, very specific individual to give mermaids this. Very specific individual. Mermaids only take souls. That is all they take as payment. It's not about jewelry and gold. It's souls. So, as I was saying, their magic is more limited, and but it is so specific. I can't tell you guys because my guides won't let me, but if you know exactly what I'm talking about, man. So do not romanticize mermaids. They are not what you think. And I can't even tell you guys where you can find them, like on this plane of existence, because you can. You absolutely can. Just be careful, because they are not, they are very, very persuasive. They could kill you, so just be careful. I do love how they got it right, though, about disciples and how gods can have disciples of other gods' children. The only thing I didn't really like, though, is that they don't really show much about other disciples that are out there, other than the god of war and the chick he fights with at the beginning. I totally forgot her name and her point, but she tended to have disciples too. However, they don't really talk about, like, for example, I think his name is Simi, the god of fate, of human fate, and how things are going to pan out for a person's life in the human world, right? Even if gods go and do a trial to etc., he can also write it out, right? Just so you guys know, Simi is not the name of the god. However, it really is a male figure. And he does run his own world. He does not live like in the castle of the heavens. Okay, like, nobody lives there except for the emperor, the empress, and if they have concubines and young children, or else nobody else lives there. Other people, as far as like gods, okay, because like even like how they depict like a crown prince, right? He does not live there in that world, that plane at all. He's not allowed to live there. So they can only come to visit, but they actually wouldn't live there. Because that's what we did not like, that it was really based off of Chinese dramas and the style of how they do, like, you know, like back then when they had emperors and stuff like that. They depicted it, they based it off of that style. So we did not like that because everything was wrong. But we can understand that, you know what, this is, so it's easier for them to do filming, and it's more of a fantasy, basically. But back to Simi, you know, like the god of fate and everything like that, he even has disciples. So he's actually just depicted as this weird, scrawny guy who gets pulled into drama and gossip. No, that does not happen. And we really did not like the family relationship of the Fox Queen and the family. We didn't like the relationship and how it was portrayed, just because, you know, I mentioned in my other video, again, that's not how it's really portrayed in the heavens. That's not how it is. You don't hang out, you don't joke, and you don't run and get scared of each other like that. Like the brother, like that was just weird. It's a lot more, they built it more so of what we are familiar with here. You know, like the viewers, what they would relate to, what they would understand, you know. But that's not how it is whatsoever in the heavens. I'm sorry to bust y'all bubbles, but it's all about do not romanticize stuff, because that's not actually how it happens. All right, but really, in a nutshell, I understand that the show is more about the love story. We did not like the love story. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It was so dramatic and so drawn on. It was just really unnecessary. They really probably could have done, okay, I understand the point of dramas. You want to see all the little details of the relationship and how they fall in love and, you know, all that jazz. But I will also tell you guys that I am not a really lovey-dovey type of individual, where, you know, like when you guys watch movies or shows, my genres are more going to be like action, horror, comedy. You know, I do not like dramas. I do not like lovey-dovey super, like like Ghost or The Notebook, like, or Titanic. Just throw the whole thing away, okay? I'm not interested. I've fallen asleep a few times on the Titanic. But and honestly, I have never seen The Notebook, the whole way through because I would get distracted and I would get up and leave and then I would come back and the movie's ending. So there's a lot of stuff I don't even know that happened in The Notebook. But if you give me an action-packed type of film, I'm gonna love it, okay? All right, you guys. So I hope I didn't bust all your bubbles. I mean, you guys had to have seen this coming, though. Really. Like, you should have seen it coming. I know a lot of people loved the drama because it was romantic, because it was fantasy, and it was about gods and stuff like that. You know, I definitely appreciate that other people who have that kind of ability to even portray these things, whether it be through a different media or art form. There are a lot of people who all see glimpses of the heavens, and their view and their story, it could be different. And especially when it comes to like television, they kind of have to do it a certain way just to make it entertaining in a certain sense, right? Would I watch the drama again? I would only fast forward to my favorite scenes, which are only in a couple of episodes, and it's pretty much like the beginning to the end. That's it. So it could have been that fast for me, and it would have been a lot better. The acting a lot of times was really sus. Oh, and before I go, I want to mention that we did not like the niece in that Eternal Love at all. We skipped the whole freaking part with the niece involved. The niece is basically, she falls in love with the old Emperor of Heaven. So it kind of depicts their love story. But yeah, no. It was like, no. We hated the acting. We thought it was really stupid. And we just skipped it every single time she came on. It was just irritating. But overall, you know, I think that the show is entertaining for those who realize it is fantasy versus how it really is. All right, so next week I am super excited because I am going to be hoopling. So we are doing the hooply with chickens. And I know a lot of you guys have asked me how to read chickens. So next video, we'll actually go over how to read a chicken when you guys do a hooply. Until next time, you guys.